What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video we are going to be doing our yearly update to the top 10 most overpowered cards in 2K MyTEAM history. So we're going to be looking back from the very beginning, the NBA 2K 13 days, back in the era of Sub the Gamer, Shake and Bake, and the great Chris Smooth. We're going to be looking from cards from that era all the way up to NBA 2K21. We've actually in fact got two new cards on this list from 2K21, which are new cards from last year, and a lot of them will be similar. So again, every year there are new overpowered cards. We're going to make one of these lists every single year. This is one of the most popular videos every time I make it. And also we are going overpowered by definition. So you're not going to see any 99 overall cards. You're not going to see a Yao Ming, but he will be in my best cards of all time video, which will be out in a few days. And it is just going to be cards that probably were 100 times better than they should have been, and were just ridiculous even for their overalls. So, no particular order, but we have to start off with the iconic. Not the garbage man 2K20 version of this card. We're starting off with the real icon. The leaner, one word, 6 letters, lads. Hito Turkey. You are seeing these ridiculous shots he's shooting. And this is a video of Hito Turkey post-patch. This is a post-patch Hito Turkey where he's just out here taking leaners. You could, in this video, or in this game, gold range, half range, basically the same thing. Diamond Hito, amethyst Hito, basically the same thing. But I'm telling you, lads, pre-base 11 patch Hito Turkey, god tier. He's one of 2 cards in the game that were so good that 2K had to nerf them. I will talk about the other one later, but you can see here, I nearly won a game just shooting fades. And this wasn't even him at his peak. His peak was in the base 11 days. But yeah, Hito Turkey deserves a spot on this list, basically mainly for how iconic he was for the channel. Then, a good old Caldy gameplay. Caldy using the Thon Maker Emerald card. So this card right here was a speed boosting center back before position locks. He was the only speed boosting center as far as I'm aware. I think him and kristaps and Jokic if you put shoe on Jokic. But basically in this game you needed to be able to speed boost the 86 ball handle to do the momentum cross. Momentum cross 5 out was the most overpowered thing in that game. But Thon Maker in general was just so good. His release was good. He had like a high 80s 3 ball back when that was like seen as the best. And yeah, if this card was in today's meta, he's just like a normal player. But he was basically like a, you know the demigods we have this year? He was like one of those demigods back in 2K17 before demigods were a thing. Thon Maker was just incredible. He was just absolutely incredible, especially because there were stages where he was like 15k, but funnily enough, when he came out, he was a 100,000 MT Emerald card. That is how crazy he was. And he came out late enough in the year. He just was absolutely incredible on the perimeter and great card. Then there was 2K16 Channing Frye. Forget about Break the Game Curry. The most broken card in this game was Channing Frye. He had limitless range, he could shoot from everywhere, and dude just didn't miss. And the big thing with Channing Frye for me was that he was also one of the best defensive bigs in the game for some reason. And again, he didn't miss. So what ended up happening is that everybody used Channing Frye on their team. It did not matter who you were. If you were playing for money, you had Channing Frye on your team. If you were looking to play this game at the highest level, you had Channing Frye. He rebounded, he played defense, he was just a monster. He was good in the post as well. Like everyone talking about how they want my team to be realistic, my logic to that is always, it means kristaps and Channing Frye become the best players in the game again. And that was the thing. That was 2K16 in a nutshell. Kristaps, Porzingis, Channing Frye picking pops. Unstoppable. Unstoppable. You could not do anything. You could contest didn't really work in this game. And it literally was just open every time. The AI could not guard a pick and pop. Channing Frye was that OP in NBA 2K16. Then we got pre-stick patch Allen Houston. Pre-stick patch Allen Houston is the most overpowered player. You can sub him in for Paul Pierce or Mitch Richmond. I'm going to put Houston because I had the most success with him. Actually, Pierce was the best card ratings wise in the game, so you couldn't really do that. But Allen Houston, until they patched the stick, was the best player. And I don't think anyone's going to disagree that I was the best player in the world with this guy. Like, he was the big reason why I went 250-0. He's the main reason. Like, I did not lose. I had one game out of 130 prior to the stick patch where it was within 10 points. Only one person ran me close with the stick patch, and it was just shooting 80% of my shots with this guy. I would just run down the court, run down the court, shoot a fadeaway with the stick, center almost every time. If not, it was a slightly. It didn't matter. It was green. He was too good. Then we were on to 2K14, where the most OP player was definitely James Harden. This was a game that was dominated by guys that were 99 overalls, so it's hard to call some of them overpowered. Because in 2K13, we had a lot of great lower overall players like Gerald Green. Those guys were not quite as good. The silvers were not quite as good in 2K14, to be completely honest. But then there was this James Harden. He came out free, so he was a challenge, and I was winning a couple of games as All-Star CPU. Like, it was very, very easy to get this card. I think it was win 5 games or something. And almost everybody had this guy. He was my 2 guard for the whole year until I got duplicate Michael Jordans. I realized you could do that. But James Harden, there was something about him in 2K14. He had the easiest jump shot in the game. He only had an 83 out of 3. He was still the best shooter in the game. He had the wild card badge, which was a little bit annoying because sometimes he would just randomly start missing out of nowhere, and volume shooter personality badges, which wasn't a good thing at the time. But at the end of the day, though, if you did shot chuck with James Harden, with the way his release was, and there was no real like green releases at this stage, he was just the best 2 guard in the game for some reason, apart from Jordan. Then there was bhullar. So 2K16 had a MyTEAM road to the playoff system where for the first 2 seeds you had to use bronzes, and until like the 5th seed, which is like the amethyst tier right now, you couldn't use more than 3 golds or higher in your team. So basically, bhullar was on almost every team, these lower overall seeds. And also, because there weren't that many shooting centers and not a lot of people did really 5 out or run pick and pops, bhullar's gigantic player build just meant that he bullied, like he would bully Hakeem Olajuwons and Bill Russells of the world. His player build was just ridiculous. He had the largest player build in the history of my team. He was just broken. Yes, he was slow. Yes, he wasn't the most effective in certain situations, but he was the biggest player in the game, and in a game where not that many shooting bigs, that's huge. Then the iconic. I can't find clips of this guy, unfortunately, and we've had to use these clips for the last 3 years. I've been looking around for them. Gerald Green, 2K13. Imagine LeBron with a better jump shot, and he was free. So basically, he was 250 VC, which was the literal cheapest player you could get, and you couldn't there was no tax selling players. So in 2K13, players' price was based on how good they were playing in real life, and he wasn't really getting much burn for the Pacers. So he was in fact the literal cheapest player in the game, and he was a silver 73 overall, but he was the best dunker in the game. And in 2K13, you couldn't block dunks, so he was unbelievably OP because you couldn't block his dunks. You couldn't contest 3-point shots. Every 3-point shot he shot pretty much went in. He was the best dunker in the game. And I mean, defensive stats didn't really matter in that game. It only mattered for speed. He was one of the best players in the game, and he was literally free. Then you guys saw the transition. We had to get the right clips. We had to obviously show that, but it's Bol. Like, obviously the Invincible Bol is better, but I mean, that's a 99 overall Invincible card. This is a 95 overall card that's still in the top 10 players in my team, in my opinion. In my opinion, this Bol right here, despite the fact that, again, he is a low overall, I think he's definitely in the top 10, or at least in the conversation for the top 10, especially on next gen. Bol's movement is just ridiculous. He's the second fastest player in the game, actually third fastest, after muresan and actually his own dad. Like, Manute Bol's the fastest player, then muresan's obviously probably next fastest, then it's Bol. But his movement is so ridiculous, good release, and whether it's unlimited or triple threat, he's just a god. Like, again, he was my main man in a tournament that I played in. He's one of the best players in the game, and he's still the best player on my team 2 months after he came out, and he's a 95 overall. Then we got to talk about muresan. And it's, you know the way speed is on next gen, where taller players move faster for no reason? Yeah, this was muresan in 2K20. Except the problem was that they didn't patch post hooks, and every single post hook went in 2K20. So every post hook would go in. That's the first thing, is that every post hook went in. And then also he was the fastest player in the game. This was when every single player felt slow. They obviously did something with the speed patch, and taller players just moved faster again with the ball. So the meta, there was 2 things in the meta. It was either you blow by someone with Derrick Rose, or you would post up or rim roam muresan. Muresan is one of 2 players that was patched in history. They nerfed his stamina to like 64 because they wanted people to stop literally running deep hash with the guy. They wanted people to stop just sprinting to the basket muresan, because he was just like, you could not guard him. Yeah, maybe you could argue this year's muresan is more OP, but for the fact that this guy was day 1, and for about 3 or 4 weeks until they nerfed stamina and patched speed, he was the best player in the game. Then Of course, this guy finishes out this list every single year. It's got to be Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, 2K15. If you, for the first like 2 months of that game, if you had any sort of momentum and you held down the square button, you dunked every single time. There was, I don't know what happened. You would literally just hold the square button and you would dunk every time. I think Cash Nasty on launch day made a video about the guy. And I remember every single person. In Road to the Playoffs, you had to use 1 silver for the first couple of tiers. And then you could only use like 3 golds for the next couple. LaVine was in every single team. Until you got into the higher tiers, LaVine was in every team. And even in the higher tiers, until he was patched, the patch came in for the dunking, LaVine was still in every team. There were 99 overall dunkers in this game. It did not matter. LaVine was different. Of all the 99 dunkers, it didn't matter. LaVine was different. He was the best player in the game until like December. And he was like 72 overall. So yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. This is the top 10 most overpowered players in 2K MyTEAM history. This is the 3rd year in a row we've done an update to this video. Obviously, there are 2 new players in the list this year. Last year, pretty much we had a muresan, but some guys have been so iconic they've been in it like every one of the years. Like obviously, we can't not put Zach LaVine. We can't not put Hito freaking Turkey. We can't leave that Emerald Thon Maker from 2K17 out. So let me know in the comments who you guys think are some of the most overpowered players in 2K history. And also, do you guys think we're going to get any more like god tier players coming into the game next year? I obviously think we will. It all depends on how the game plays, really, or how OP they are. For example, like everyone was OP in 2K18. Outside of muresan, I mean Wade, you could argue in 2K19, but he was, or 2K20, but he's a little bit expensive. But 2K21, I don't think you can really argue pre-stick patch, Houston and Bull. So yeah, that's pretty much it, lads. That is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
I think you only love me cause I'm popping. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's robbing. Tyson with the fade, not the hair, my hands rocking. When I link with ball point, you know it's not.